And, I'd love to obviously talk about the beef here a little bit. I actually have.
Who put you in charge?
Dude, I have a printout. Okay, I have a printout of our conversation. Get the facts straight.
You've come way too. This is way too prepared.
He brought evidence.
I think we need to kick him off because he's too prepared.
What up, party people? All right, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I really didn't even know who the vegan cyclist was until he called out Dizzle in his Dust Bowl 100 video, stirring up some good old-fashioned beef. And even then, I didn't even know his real name was Tyler Pearce until the night before recording this episode. But hey, I give the guy some mad props for checking his ego at the door, coming into this conversation with not only an open mind, but also open arms, willing to accept Dizzle and his sometimes brash persona, despite all the controversy that was stirred. Dylan and I mostly just sit back and let these two frenemies on YouTube duke it out, clear the air on what really happened between their interaction at the Dust Bowl 100 before we all dive into some more, universal conversations like gravel world champs, tire testing, marginal gains, and some future projects that VC is working on. Oh yeah, speaking of tire testing, if you came here this week hoping that I would share some of the tire test results, comparing DJ's beloved Race King to Keegan's sought after Aspen ST, well, testing got a little bit delayed. I took a spill last week. That delayed things. Plus, the recording got moved up a day, which meant I had even less time to get those tire results in before recording. So I don't have anything that I share on the episode this week, but I'm hoping to get at least some preliminary results up on socials for you guys to take a look. If you have any questions or feedback for the show, you can drop us a note at bonkbrospodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on the Bonk Bros Instagram page. Shout out to our presenting sponsor, SILCA, for yet again having our backs for another Bonk Bros Whirlwind episode. As Dylan mentions later in the show, one of SILCA's best kept secrets is actually a free product for you, which is their tire pressure calculator. So next time you're going to air up those mountain bike tires on your gravel bike and you really have no idea what tire pressure you should even be running those at, check out SILCA's website for a good reference starting point. And while you're there, also check out some of their other amazing products that they have and use the discount code BONKBROS bonus5 for an extra discount. All right, let's get this party started. Dude, Drew, I didn't even know if you were going to come on after your, you look like you're going to wuss out after yesterday.
Yeah. It was a rough weekend.
Look at these guys. This is awesome. We got Flame Hater and Flame Boy in the house.
Yeah, okay. Flame Hater.
For those who are watching on YouTube, look at how that we didn't even plan this, but the two arch nemesis, they matched their shirts.
Did you buy that shirt? Did you have to go to Walmart and get that shirt?
No, and I actually got a flame wig, but it's not going to come until tomorrow. So I was going to have a flame wig and flame glasses, and this is all that came in. So it's actually really, really nice, dude. So anyways.
It looks nice. You look really good. Like really good.
Yeah.
Are you Drew, are you getting ideas for your kit next year right now or what?
Yeah. Those flames are like real flames instead of like animated flames.
I mean, look, dude, I hate your kit so very much, but the cartoon style flames is better than realistic flames. Like if you had realistic flames, it would be disgusting. But anyways, dude, I'm super stoked to be on. I appreciate you guys, working your schedule around my divaness. And, I'd love to obviously talk about the beef here a little bit. I actually have.
Who put you in charge?
Dude, I have a printout. Okay, I have a printout of our conversation. I want to get the facts straight.
You've come way too. This is way too prepared.
He brought evidence.
I think we need to kick him off because he's too prepared.
Yeah.
This is the most prepared anybody has ever been for this podcast. I'm not going to lie. Like coordinating shirts, bringing receipts. Like we don't do that on this podcast.
No, it's awesome.
My program's not loose, dude. I can't win a race, but dude, I'm dialed. So
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I've been hating on Drew's kit ever since the beginning of this year when you first showed it off. I thought it was horrible, and now Vegan Cyclist is getting all. Are you Vegan Cyclist now, or are you just VC Adventures? Or are you changing your name?
Yeah, I changed it across everything to VC Adventures. On Instagram, it's VC Adventure Time.
All right,
Is that stand for vegan cyclist still though?
Yeah. I mean, dude, like the thing was, as I am plant-based, but it's not my identity. I would never introduce myself as a vegan. And it was just like such a roadblock. People would see my channel and immediately put me in a box. Like, oh, this guy, this guy's Duran rider, right? This guy's going to preach about veganism. And it just wasn't, that's just not me. But like changing my whole brand is scary, right? I've worked 8 to 10 years to build this thing. And so everyone called me VC anyways. So I tried to like incorporate that. But now people are like, oh, the venture capitalist. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So,
Damn.
Well,
if you wouldn't introduce yourself as a vegan, you're not a real vegan anyway.
Yeah, I will say the reason we're probably missing Scott right now is because he saw a vegan cyclist and immediately tuned out. He said, "I'm out." So,
or it could be that
we should have introduced him as VC. Maybe we could have gotten Scott on here this week.
Yeah, the venison cyclist.
There we go. Yeah,
then Scott would be here right now.
Your own interpretation. Well, hey, real quick, I know you guys probably know who Flame Hater is. I'm pretty new to you. Until your video about the Dust Bowl came out last week, I'd never really watched any of your stuff. So can you give me, mostly me and maybe some of our listeners, a little background on you, just so we know, like, for context before we get into the conversation?
Yeah. So I'm a pretty like OG content creator in the cycling space. Started a long time ago. And so I started in like 2015, I think. And, just there wasn't anything out there. So I tried to, create like how to use a power meter, right? Like just all the normal stuff, how to build a training program. And I didn't really know anything at that time. It was just sort of, there's no content out like that. So then I started there, had some success a little bit. It took me a year to get 1,000 subscribers, right? It took me 2 years to get 10,000. And then 3 years, I finally hit 100,000. Anyways, I kept trying to make content. Then people would make content better than me. So then I would try to do something that no one else was doing, which kind of just drove me into this insane adventure style content. So like what I pretty much do is massive films. I had this Impossible Route series that I did, had 11 films that were like super high production, like proper films, not just like a YouTube video. We
There's
actually
11?
got that. Yeah, there are 11 episodes, which is really gnarly. 3 seasons, 11 episodes, probably takes 300 to 500 hours per episode of edit and, logistics time. Anyways, and so, yeah, I kind of just do like pretty good videos, I feel like, but I don't post that much. So it takes me a long time to make some of the stuff that I do. But I also then do just these race breakdowns, which are pretty like easy, to do. And I go out to events and try to show what that event's going to feel like. And yeah, so
I don't post that much anymore either.
Yeah, but dude, when you post, there's value to it. You know what I mean? So like when a video of yours drops, it's like, oh, okay, this is worth my time. And that's YouTube doesn't like that. They put it in favor of you blasting tons and tons and tons of content out there, which is a bummer. Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to post just to post. I think there's YouTube creators that they go for the quantity over quality route, but there are certainly YouTube creators that do extremely well with the quality over quantity route too. Like they don't post that frequently, but when they post, it's a really good video and everyone watches it. And every single video on their channel has 1 million+ views, Totally. But the most I've ever made on YouTube was I made 11 grand in 1 month. I did that in December where I made a video every single day. Right. So I did this daily vlog thing and each one of the videos only got like 30,000 views. But when you combined it over, well, like, for me, anything less than 100,000 feels like the kind of work and energy I put into the video. It almost feels, not worth a squeeze. But so, you know, at 20,000, 30,000 a video, to me, that's like, dude, that's a lot of work to, anyways, over that month, because I did so many and you have more opportunities for ad breaks. Yeah, I made so much. So 1 million views spread over like 100 videos will make you more money than 1 million views on one video.
On one video. That makes sense.
Dude, think about how much Lantern Rouge is raking in. You ever think about that?
I mean, it depends. The thing is, a lot of his stuff gets demonetized. So because he uses footage, you know, so if they strike him or take the money, then he might not actually be making as much as you would anticipate. So
doesn't Visma Lisa Bike, isn't he on their payroll?
What are you talking about, bro? Do you even know who Lantern Rouge is?
Isn't he on the Visma Lisa Bike? Doesn't he do some consult work for them?
I think you pulled that out of your ass.
I'm pretty sure he's a consultant for the Visma Lisa Bike team.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Are we gonna take the opinion from the guy who thought he was watching the current year Road World Championships last weekend and was actually watching the Road World Championships from 3 years ago?
Dude, it's so funny. We had so many people reach out. I think someone even sent us a meme.
Cycling. That was his fault.
Drew, of you riding the trainer, talking about how you're watching Gravel Worlds UCI or like just Gravel Worlds race or whatever. And then it was like on the screen, though, it was like 2017 Gravel Worlds in Nebraska.
Accurate.
Yeah.
That actually was what happened this weekend. Yeah.
I know.
So just to go back, Adam, on your, like who I am, just like real quick, I'm a content creator that specializes in adventure. I did win 2 national championships for ultra distance, which Flameboy did talk shit on. And I'm totally down. I'm totally down to talk about that.
I've only said one bad thing about you.
What is
Whatever,
it?
bro. It's like the achievement of my life, and then you want to fucking piss on it.
Wait, I missed this.
Yeah,
what did you say about his national championships?
I said he made him up. He's won a national championship that nobody's ever heard of.
What is it? What national championship?
Which I had never heard of that national championship until you won it. But it actually, I had a lot of people message me and say that it's a legit thing that's been going on for a long time, and that you were the one that I guess publicized it, obviously because of your following. But I had.
Is it like 24-hour racing or what?
It's ultra distance racing, which is anything 500 plus miles. So that's where the ultra like organization that sanctions that. It's 500 plus. And so like the world championship, it's 2,500 miles. You know what I mean? So it's like a really, really gnarly. But the national championship in America ranges over 3 different courses. So they have a climbing one, they have a flat one, then they have one at elevation. And yeah, like, is the competition super stacked? Not really. You know what I mean? When I came into the scene, you had a lot of like flappy jersey recreational riders.
Flappy jersey, dude.
And so like, you know, I'm in a skin suit, like I'm, you know, full disc wheel, you know, training.
Yeah. You ever seen that meme of the kid who's like, it's a little kid's race and the little kid is wearing an Aero helmet and they've got like an S-Works bike?
Totally. But like, it's not any different than what like Peter Stetina did to gravel. You know what I mean? You had guys that just, you mean
bring the spirit? You brought the spirit.
Okay, well, he kind of changed. He changed.
And he basically birthed the gravel spirit onto us.
Yeah. But so anyway, so I have that, and then I have like a few other things. Like I just rode from Canada to Mexico. That was kind of that was kind of sick. Yeah.
Was that was that Continental Divide or what?
No, the Continental Divide is too gnarly for me, dude. I can't deal with the weather. Like I'm not trying to be cold. And so I did the PCH trail. So it's all the West Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a very common bike packing route. And like, okay, for sure, I poach any opportunities to have a flex on social. Okay. So like the ultra distance national championship, there's 3 competitors. I'm gonna poach that shit. You know what I mean? I got myself a fucking jersey. And then with this record from Canada, Mexico, no one had really done anything faster than Lachlan Morton's time on the divide. So I did a way easier course, you know what I mean? And broke the record. So I could say at the time that I had the border to border record. And like, here's the thing is,
y'all be giving me so much crap if I did that. You guys need to light him up. Do you hear him?
If you run from Canada to Mexico,
I would get so much crap if I did what he just said. And you guys are like, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
What's cool? Riding from Canada to Mexico as fast as possible, or getting
coming up with loopholes
at Schwab
coming up with loopholes to make it sound like you're fast.
I mean,
I love that. That's great.
So a loophole would be like, I'm the current Central California Bass Lake champion. You know what I mean? That would be like making up something.
That's what you just said, basically. You're the current ultra distance national champion on the flat course or whatever.
I did the climbing. I did the climbing one. So I won 2. I did a flat one, but it's still not flat. It's like 20,000 feet of climbing. But I did the Oregon one, which was 37,000 feet of climbing. So I did an Everest Rome.
I want to know what's more legit, his made up championships or my collegiate cyclocross national championships, which might as well be made up because who cares about collegiate cyclocross? But I got 2 cyclocross collegiate national championships. There were probably more competitors in that race than yours.
Totally. But the thing is it's not like I'm just doing, okay, anyone could finish your race. Maybe not anyone can win it, but anyone can finish it.
Yeah, but one person finish it first.
No, I think what Flame Hater's trying to say here is the reason there's more competitors is because there's more people that can sign up and do the race. So like in theory, you could probably have 1,000 people that sign up for this ultra race, but maybe only 5 are going to finish.
A lot of people just don't even have that ability to ride, say 24 to 36 hours at one time. Doesn't matter, whatever.
I hear you.
Look,
if you can't go fast, go long.
For sure. And that is what was like more of my thing. Like I started in crit racing because that was what I found the most fun, but I just like, that's just not my skill set, so as I did more things that were longer and, that became less competition and I enjoyed doing that more, I was just better at it. So
I will say, I think I'm just going to give my take here. I think whatever this ultra national champ thing is that's supposedly made up, maybe it's not. It still sounds
it's sanctioned. It's a sanctioned championship.
It still sounds it's more legit to me than Masters national championships.
Okay, but I think we have to differentiate between if it's 20 to 29 or whatever that is national championship versus like 40 to 49. 40 to 49, you probably are the fastest 40 to 40. Well,
no, you're not. Brian Motter is going to whoop your ass every single time.
Yeah, you make a good point. What if 50 to 59, you're like, okay, you are the fastest 50 to 59-year-old. But if you win, say, like 20 to 29, you're clearly not the fastest 20 to 29-year-old because everybody in the pro field's 20 to 29.
Correct.
Let me add this and we'll move on to the drama because I really want to get into my screenshots and all that. But so like the thing is that if you take a non-competitive championship and you make it your personality, that is where I feel like if I was wearing stars and stripes on everything, if my helmet was stars and stripes, like if I leaned in so hard on that to me feels a little douchey, right? But just gaining a title to sort of put it in the background and be like, man, that was a lot of work. It was hard. It was difficult. But I try not to lean into that. I don't constantly tell people, that I'm a national champion. And I was embarrassed to even make the video of it. I was like, dude, this sucks. The second one I did, which was during a heat wave, 110-degree weather, again, at Everest Rome, 37,000 feet of climbing, over 500 and something miles. It was gnarly hard. But only one other guy showed up. So all of the competitors dropped out because of the heat wave. So then it's like, well, what am I supposed to say here? Like, this is so annoying that one other guy showed up. And then, dude, he had 2 kids with him. His wife was like in a station wagon. It's like, bro, this guy's just trying to finish. He's not racing. And so then I'm over there in a freaking Aero helmet, like full, crew, film crew, boom mics. And it's just like, well, shit, you know what I mean? But
all right.
So you couldn't wear your, I don't know if you have a national kit, but you couldn't wear that kit at Gravel Worlds, the long voyage, because it was only $350. Is that right?
I mean, you can do whatever you want in Gravel World. Dude, no one cares at Gravel Worlds. You can do whatever you want.
But he was there, and I don't think he wore his Ultra.
No. I didn't. So actually, the Gravel Worlds was on the same day as the Ultra Distance National Championship. So I was giving up I didn't go for a three-peat this year because Gravel Worlds had the guys that would be beating me. If they showed up to Ultra Nationals, it's like, well, these are the fast guys. So I gave up I'm a 3-time national champion because only one other person was going to show up. And I went and did Gravel Worlds, which was a more stacked, harder field. So, which I got 7th. So like, I know that if those guys showed up in the Ultra Distance Nationals, I probably would have got 7th anyways. So I seeked out the heavier competition and gave up my social flex.
Good for you. I'm proud of you for doing that.
Okay. All right, let's get to this beef.
Yeah. So, okay. I want to go through some facts.
I thought we were beefing the whole time.
All right. So let's just drop through a few of the facts because like I see that you're responding on social, right? You've responded to some comments and here's the thing is like,
yeah, on one day I haven't looked at it since then.
I totally understand like you feeling attacked. And then some of the comments, like, look, this was so backhanded joke.
Did you think I got mad? I didn't get mad.
It's fine. I'm saying that the commenters, like some of the people kind of went in on you harder than I would have expected. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, so that's YouTube. I mean, that's just YouTube. They do that they do that to me on my own videos.
Totally. So I understand
thick skin.
I understand you feeling like you need to defend yourself, right? So the fact that you were saying in all caps, I sent him the footage. I totally get where you're coming. Okay, but let's go over
at least.
Well, let's go over the facts. Okay. So for one, when I saw you out riding, I came up to you in the middle of the race.
Yeah, in the middle of the race. Yep.
Yeah. Fact. And did I come up to you and say, "Yo, bro, I'm such a hitter on YouTube. I need your footage right now. I'm so great." No, dude. I was like,
that's not how I portrayed it.
Okay.
All I said was that you asked me for footage, and I said,
yeah, totally. So like the
that is what I did. That's what I did, isn't it?
I know. And
which is funny. This is funny. This is me being funny. Do you think a real person would actually communicate by rubbing and saying money, dude?
Okay, but when you did that, immediately I go, holy fuck, that's the douchiest thing I've ever seen anyone do. Okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And so whatever.
I was smirking and laughing the whole time.
I also really want to hear about this 1-minute conversation that the two of you had after the race. I want to hear it from Tyler's
That probably
perspective.
Came off even more douchey because I was being totally sarcastic.
Okay, but so to back up a second, I have a great sense of humor. I have no problem like attacking each other, that kind of thing. But I don't know you at all.
Oh yeah, you do.
I don't know you at all. And so the thing is that when you're going to use that kind of humor, you need some kind of like back existence of you and me, right? So like my first impression of you is you rubbing your hands together. But then what did I say to that? I said, sure, I will. I said, I will pay you for your footage. I have paid people for their footage.
Wait, really?
Look, I have no problem
I wasn't
supporting
really asking
creators.
for money, though. I don't remember you saying that.
I said, for sure, I'll pay you if the footage is good enough. And if you had sent me the footage, I had fully planned on sending you $250.
Really?
Okay. I was going to pay you $250 for your footage.
Well, I sent the footage. So should I send you my invoice to the same email?
Let's go through our chat. Okay, so
I'm
first
dying
off,
to see this. I don't remember what I said, so I'm a little nervous.
So first off, you implied you wanted money, and I agreed.
I joked.
So then we go on to race. You win. Congratulations.
I dusted you, bro. Don't even. I smoked you.
I got caught behind 2 crashes. So
I got caught behind the same exact crash, but you know what it's called? It's called positioning. And a real racer knows how to position well.
100%.
Oh,
that downhill at 50 miles,
That was nuts.
I pushed out. I was at the front. And I literally backed way off, and everyone sent that thing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And you created a gap with like 10 guys, right? So racing is racing. That's where like I respect whatever. If you punted me, if you came on the inside and punted me into the cornfield and won the race, I'm fine with that. Like racing is a separate deal. It's what happens after the race in which shows your piece of shit humanity. And that's where I had a little bit of me. So then, okay, you go on to win the race. Like, congratulations. That's awesome. And then afterwards,
thank you so much.
I come up to you and I congratulate you again. I go, good job.
You didn't come up to me. You were driving away in your car.
Bro, I looked for you for like 30 minutes. And so maybe because you weren't wearing your flame.
I was standing right at the finish line.
Okay.
In the flame kit.
I looked for you. Then I'm driving away. I see you. So then I approach you and I go, hey man, would love to get that footage.
You don't approach me. You were in your car. I walked up to your car. I
was driving away. I saw you.
How do you approach somebody from your
You guys are getting way too bogged down in the details. It doesn't matter who approached it.
Somehow you interacted. There was an interaction.
I'm the one that wanted the footage, right? So I am actively, and this is the thing is I want to try to show, I wanted to be good guy Greg and highlight you. I wanted to show the front of the race. I wanted to tell a story because I always tell my story, which is like mid-pack Jack. There's always excuses, whatever. And so I would like to show the front of the race. I want to show the winner of the race. Like that's a good story. So then whatever I say, hey man, how can I get a hold of this footage? You say on Instagram. Okay. Now you have 2 options at this point. When I say, what's your Instagram handle? You could say it's Rad Dad Dizzle. I'm actually a rad dad. It's pretty cool. That's one option. The other option is to go, wait, you don't know who I am? The fuck? Okay.
You don't know how ironic that is because you're like famous. So somebody who's not famous saying to a famous person, wait, you don't know who I am? That's I was being ironic. That's exactly what irony is.
Okay. So look, because I don't do that. Like I don't ever assume someone knows who I am. Like that.
I don't think I do
like,
that either, but I only did it to you because you're more famous than me. So I thought it would be hilarious.
Okay. So
and obviously,
so let's just like the way you're setting up this social interaction. It's hard to understand like who you are because I don't have any like history. So then you go, you don't know who I am? No, I don't. And then you give me the handle. I bring up your page. You don't follow me. No, on Instagram.
Yeah, but that's a thing because I hate Instagram. I only follow like 30 people.
He pretends like he hates Instagram, but he's looking at Instagram all the time.
Okay, so whatever. So I bring you up. You don't follow me. So then I go, well, dude, why would I follow you if you don't follow me? And then you go on to be like, well, I make really good content and I only follow 30 people. And so I really hold this. And guess what? You have 6,000 followers. Bro, my dog has 6,000 followers. Okay.
Right,
so like
I don't give
my
a rip about how many followers I have on Instagram.
Doesn't matter. You came at like that I should totally know who you are and that Instagram is this like holy grail of yours.
Hilarious.
Okay.
The whole point of this is I was trying to be ironic and funny. You think I would brag about my 6,000 followers?
Don't know, dude. Don't know you. So, okay.
Trust me, I wouldn't. I would not brag about that.
So then I go, okay. So then I, in front of you, follow you, right? Hit the follow button.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you follow me back? No, fuck no, dude. I unfollowed you because
unfollowed. Oh man, dude, our friendship's blossomed. Like it's about to blossom, dude.
I gave you a good month to follow me back, and you never did. Okay, so.
I know I don't follow anybody. I don't care who follows me. Can you even see that? I can see who follows me.
Don't play dumb, Drew. Don't play dumb like you don't know.
Why would I randomly follow somebody if they just follow me?
Randomly?
And I'm pretty sure
the guy you're asking to highlight
that
you.
I wasn't going to follow you. So why would you be surprised that I didn't follow you? I have very strict guidelines on who I follow.
It's like the most high school girl conversation I've ever heard.
Just to add context here, Drew does, in fact, he only follows 42 people.
All of the Ignition coaches and all of my sponsors. Those are the only people fine. I follow.
We are entering into a relationship where I'm going to help you out. And so that is seemingly, hey man, we could do more together. You know, like
we can. I'm looking so forward to our impossible route together. It's gonna be a blast, dude.
Okay. So anyways,
we could do it in Mexico. Let's go to Mexico.
We can talk about how we want to do that later. But so
yes.
Okay. So then I follow you and I drive off and I go about living my life. And then I don't ever get an email from you. So then I look up, I go back to our
week.
Okay. Yeah, so when you say I forget. In all caps,
here we go. We got the evidence. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to see
in
this.
all caps, you are telling people online.
Is this via
I sent
Instagram?
The footage. Yes. So I said, yeah, this is 17 days after. I say, hey, any update on the footage from Dust Bowl? And you say, yeah, I can still send it. I kind of figured you'd already did the video without the footage. My bad. Okay. So you didn't send the footage when I asked you. And then I go, all good. If you can send it, sweet. Scene. You leave me on scene. You don't say, hey man, I'll send it. You don't reply after you sent it and say, hey, I sent it. You just go.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Bro, it's a whole meme of just leaving someone on red. You just say, this fucking guy, and you never respond. So then, okay. And now I sent you my Gmail because you said something about putting it on a Google Drive. And my email that I check often is not a Gmail. So then I sent you my Gmail. So again, I already said this. If you did send me the footage.
Gmail, I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want you to get a bunch of emails.
I don't check that. I don't check that email. So I did not actively check to see if you sent the footage. Okay. So, and I said,
that's the truth. So I sent it, but you didn't check it. Is that what you just said?
You did not. No, you did not send it after I asked you. Then when I reminded you about it, you never said.
What day was the message?
August 16th.
All right.
And I said, I'll eat dicks if you did send the footage that day because I did not check. All right. Right.
I like how.
What day?
Okay, well, don't show 16th. It here.
August the 19th.
Okay, we got
4:44 p.m. Yeah, we can edit that somehow or something. But.
Like I said, it doesn't matter.
Tyler, here's some of the footage I got from Dust Bowl. It's the edited footage from my YouTube video, minus the voiceover and all the overlay stuff. Would love a shout out in the video. Let me know if it doesn't work and I can try something else.
Totally.
And so a link to a Google Drive.
I will eat dicks that I did not. 3 days after. Okay, I didn't. Because like I said, I didn't check it.
I guess I should have followed up. My bad. Should have said, "Oh, hey, here's that foot."
So when you left, when first you ignored me. 2, you did the douchey thing of like,
ignore you. I forgot about you. Big difference. This is just to show you.
Dude, okay, so if you don't follow this podcast, Drew is constantly putting his foot in his mouth at all times.
No, ignoring you is like I saw it and I purposely did not respond. I forgot about it.
It says seen right there. So you purposely did not reply, but okay. Continue.
Wait, was that message on Instagram?
Yeah, the one where you were appalled that I didn't follow you. Yeah, that one, that Instagram.
No, I thought I wanted you to just subscribe to my YouTube channel because that would have been more ironic. It's actually
so you asked me to help you out and to promote the Bonk Bros and your stuff, and you were saying like,
screw these guys, don't promote the Bonk Bros.
You were saying I'm really struggling to try to get out there. I want to do more with this, and I empathize with that, right? Like we've all started
struggling.
Somewhere. So I had
said that.
Dude, Drew and I secretly have the conversation about how he's struggling all the time. I don't know what
struggling on what?
Struggling just in general. YouTube, Instagram, life.
I like how many people I have on. I don't care about Instagram, but I like my 10K on Instagram or YouTube.
No, you're constantly talking about how you could reach more people.
Yeah, and that's what you did. You pitched this like, hey, I need your help. And I had no problem. Like, dude, I love amplifying someone else. And I think the more the merrier. So in no way am I trying to gatekeep, right? So first off, I feel like I'm helping you, and your diva-ness is just through the roof.
Dang, you really took it personally. I'm sorry. I hope we can be friends. I hope that after this podcast, you'll notice that I'm literally like, I'm just like that all the time. Like I don't have an off switch.
I don't know if that makes it better.
I don't have an off switch. Like I'm just always like that. Like that's just how I am.
If you're a douche all the time, does that make you more likable?
That's not. I'm not a douche. I'm just like sarcastic and goofy all the time. Which if you take the sarcasm and the goofiness literally, then yeah, I guess it would be kind of douchey.
So here's how old are you? How old are you?
30. How old are you?
Okay. That is kind of old to not know how to be social, right? So if you were like 24, I'd be like, okay, this guy doesn't.
Social. What do you mean?
Bro, you're saying I'm always like that. You're saying, okay, your friends are one thing, but to make new relationships, especially in what would be considered business, right? Like I wouldn't go up to the owner of Canyon and be like, money, bro. You know what I mean? Like, no, dude, I'm going to present myself in a better situation. And then when me and that guy have a relationship.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between there. I want Canyon's respect. I don't give a rip about getting your respect or not. Like my sponsors are one thing, like, but you are just a YouTube guy. Like, I don't care if you asked like me for
you asked for my help.
And if you helped me, sure, but I don't care if you don't help me.
Then, okay, why ask for my help? That's what I'm just saying is like you had an opportunity. And this is what a lot of people in the comments say.
I didn't go up to you and ask you for your help. You came up to me and said, hey, let me get some of that footage. And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd probably be beneficial for me. Like if you shouted me out in your video, I'd probably grab some subscribers. That'd be great.
For sure.
But I didn't come up. The story didn't start with I came up to you asking you for help. The story started with you coming to me and asking me for help. I would not approach you.
I'm not asking you for help.
I would not approach you at a race and say, hey, man, I'm trying to do YouTube. Can you help me? I'm just struggling. Like that is a conversation I would never have.
Sure. But after we started having a conversation, then you were like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to potentially grow. Yeah. Okay, so great. So in those moments where you're meeting someone for the first time and you're entering into some kind of business relationship, this is what I'm saying. There's a different way to behave at that point. Because like you can say you're joking and none of this is serious, and that's fine, but I have no history of you. So I don't know.
Yeah,
so the only data points,
you're the one being kind of an a-hole in that situation because you're the one coming to me like you're you're acting like you're a sponsor, and I was just coming up to you like you were a bro and joking around with you and goofing off with you, and you're like, no. If you're gonna come to me, you need to be professional. Do you know who I am? I am Vegan Cyclist. If you want me to sponsor you, you need to gaslight people, bro. Like you're changing me like I'm your sponsor. This is a business relationship. I'm like, no, dude. I was just joking around with a bro. I thought that you would laugh and it would be good and we'd be friends. But
in no way did I come up to you thinking that I was something special. I was humble. I was good guy, Greg. I gave you a cool opportunity.
I know. So then I'm not saying then. I'm talking about more like right now.
So after all that, I get into the footage, right? And this is how I tell stories. It's like, how do I tell a story where I got 21st? Okay, right? Like, there's not a whole lot to say. There's not much of a story. And so then I'm looking for something cool to say. And then I see you in your kit. I have tons of footage of you. So then I'm like, well, this is actually hilarious. And so then
it was so
I personally got great joy out of that being an ongoing little joke. And so
Good.
I just like,
Me too.
this is not that serious at all, right? I'm
Yeah, I
not
don't
losing
think so.
sleep over it.
Yeah,
I'm
me
just
neither.
saying, I just want to be open about like what happened before this and how people are thinking that, one, I didn't offer to pay you for footage, because I did offer to pay you for footage, and that you did not immediately send me the footage. So those are the two things. We'll clear it up. And so
Good.
look,
Main word
here's-
there is immediately. I did send you the footage. It was just delayed.
I know, but dude, isn't that kind of like trying to make yourself seem good by leaving out detailed information?
Wait, what do you mean? You or
By
me?
you. So you will respond to people and say, I did send him the footage.
Yeah, but
No, I sent him footage way later. I forgot to send him footage, but I eventually did.
yeah, but that's better than saying I didn't send it at all, which is what you said.
Totally. And I'm going to say
And
again,
he said he's going to eat some dicks for that.
eating
All
a
right.
bag of dicks that I did not check my email and see the
There you
footage there.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
So
I want to
me and
hear you guys both apologize to each other for misrepresenting each other, and then we can move on.
Fair enough. I'm sorry.
I will apologize for about 17% of this interaction.
Good. Yeah. All right. That's enough. All right, Drew. Will you
Wait, I don't
apologize?
understand. What do you mean 17%?
No, Drew. Don't get bogged down in the details. Just say
What?
you apologize.
He only did a 17%. I did 100%.
Okay, I do want to ask you, though.
You only want to be 83% friends with me?
No, I'm putting
He did
83%.
Dude, he doesn't want to be friends with you at all. He wants to be friends with you. Zero.
you're only taking 17% of the
blame.
The blame. Yeah.
Why can't we just do 50-50?
Because it ain't 50-50, bro. It ain't 50-50. So whatever.
But I didn't go to social media and call you out. I went on with my life. I made my video. It got its usual 5K. I was happy with that, living it up. And a month goes by. I think it was a month after I had emailed you the footage. So you must really not check that email. Because
all right, this podcast is already such a train wreck. We need to not get bogged down in the details.
There was no beef at all. And then a video comes out that you put out, and there was beef. So you were the one that I guess I don't know.
Whatever you want to do to sleep at night.
You publicized the beef.
Okay. So you having the ability to win a race is extremely rare, right? There was like 530 people in the long distance. That is regardless of who you are, winning a race is extremely hard. Why would you have the fitness to win a race and choose to wear the lamest kit of all time? You have the ability to be cool. You can like wear whatever you want, because if you win the race, you're like, you make things cool. I can't win a race, so I have to try to figure out how to look cool and look dope as much as possible, but it sucks because I can't win. Why do you choose to wear this hideous kit? And why do you have multiple iterations of it? Some of them are orange, some are red. Like, what is the story behind this?
The yellow and red one is by far the worst. I hate the yellow and red one.
I don't know. I thought it was cool.
I think Drew's sense of style is just like, he's talked about literally getting the flame arm tattoo before.
I have not.
So just to you, when you see yourself in pictures, you're like, hell yeah, dude. I look dope.
Well, ask Dylan about this one. Dylan,
I was gonna say there was one picture.
There was one picture where Dylan was like, "This is the coolest picture of Drew we've ever seen."
Yeah, you did look cool in that picture.
It was in the flame kit.
His quads were like popping in that.
Yeah, you look very strong. You look very like.
I got to do something to stand out. Like, I won that race, but that's the only race that I've won in like the last 5 years.
In Drew's mind, he's doing the same thing that you're doing, because like he's trying to be in the Lifetime Grand Prix, and he's never going to win a Lifetime Grand Prix race. Never.
So how are people going to see me? The obnoxious yellow kit. That's how they're going to notice me.
But I don't think that that's like a good angle. You know what I mean? Like Lifetime's going to see you and go, we can't have this on our footage.
Not for Lifetime, just for like any footage.
Well, how do you think you're going to get into the Grand Prix? Like the people at Lifetime are going to pick you, bro.
Yeah, based off of results, not because of footage.
No, so maybe your results are great, and then they go, well, can we have a flame kit in all of our photos and assets? No. No, we cannot. You
Why
know what
not?
I mean? You're ruining the photos.
You're being dramatic.
Yeah.
There's one kit in this video that's brighter than all the other kits, and it's the bright yellow kit that is Dizzle.
Damn, who's that guy going from back row all the way to the front, though?
That's Adam.
That
yellow kit, it stands out. There it is, right there.
I will say that I am jealous of your ability to win a race, and so when I see that,
coming from the guy that has like a blue and pink kit, isn't that like
so dope? And everyone bought the kit, everyone wants the kit. It's so sick. But I also at that race, I did all black with matching white velo toes and a white hydro and a white helmet.
Because you're doing what everybody else is doing. Like,
yeah,
no one else was running that.
Dude, he went all black with white shoes, dude. Come on.
Oh, snap. That's what everybody does.
No, dude, all black with white.
Look, I don't care what you guys say. If I like it, I'm doing it. And I like the flames, so I'm doing it.
Okay. And look, lean into it.
There's like, no other reason for me choosing that kit other than I liked it.
And that's interesting how your mind works. But I respect that if you lean into it, you know what I mean? If you're like, yeah, cool, this is my thing. You know, for me, pink and blue, I don't know why I gravitate towards that. I really like pink and blue. And you know, my sense of style, I feel like's pretty good, but I wish I could win. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's strange to be like, dang, dude, this guy could be so dope.
Would you rather look lame and win, or would you rather look cool and get 21st?
For sure look cool.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, I guess that's a big difference.
I mean, like the thing is like you win and then people see like your vibe, and it doesn't matter. Like if you wore a TT helmet backwards and, you know, you were wearing like a thong, it doesn't matter if you win. It's kind of like, dude, that sucks.
Dude, at the same time though, you did use aero bars for that race. Aero bars, aero bars and gravel are the epitome of wanting to win over looking cool.
And I said that in the video. I said I was not going to run them because it looks atrocious. Like, I just don't even want that photo, like the POV of those fucking stabby bars off from the front. Mm-hmm. I hate it. But because that race was so flat,
cool.
Dude, those are the new integrated bars for the Canyon, you know, setup, which is like super sick. But they were amazing, man. I mean, they helped me out a ton. Look, I wish that I had not gotten caught behind that crash and gotten into your group. But I don't know if I would have been able to stay on your group because of the humidity. Like, I didn't think 100 miles was like a big deal to like, I just ran my hydro pack and 2 bottles. But I think I talked to you after the race and you said you stopped and did a hand up or a swap out, right? You got extra fuel at that hand up station.
I had to stop. Yeah. And then chase back on. Yeah.
So can I ask a question? Okay. When Drew talked about this race after it happened, it was like, he made it out to be just kind of like this local, like little podunk race. Why are you there? What brought you to the race?
Dude, it is not a local podunk race. I mean, there was over 1,000 people registered. Like in the premier distance, there was 540
I did see,
people
from your
registered.
video, you definitely made it out to seem way bigger than I thought it was before your video. I don't know if I don't even think I watched your video yet, Drew.
Like outside of Lifetime events, this is probably one of the bigger ones. And there's no like real selector. There's no like beyond category climb. So it's a crapshoot, you know, like a lot of crashes. So winning this race is very difficult regardless of who you are.
So you knew about this race like before, like they didn't reach out and invite you.
Yeah. So the son of the guy, Mark, he had did this. So it's kind of funny. It's like 3 a.m. I can't really sleep. I'm laying on the couch and I get tagged in this video of this like 10-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid doing this like little edit about how I'm his favorite YouTuber and how he wants me to come out to the, the Dust Bowl. And then I'm thinking like, well, dude, I can't leave this kid hanging. You know what I mean? Like, and now I'm going to look like a total asshole if this kid's like, please come out. And I'm just like, nah, bro, peace out. So then I had to try to figure out a way to get out there and be involved in it. And the other thing is I'm always looking for ways to tell a good story. And this one felt like I could control the story a little bit more. Like if there's like BWR San Diego, bro, there's no way I can even see the front. I'm not going to be competitive in any way within the first 5 minutes of that race. This felt like even if I'm not as fit as Flame Boy, I can finagle my way in at least to the halfway point. You know what I mean? Sure. So
why'd you go to the gym? Why'd you go to the gym the day before?
Bro, I got to keep swole, son.
I think it's because you wanted an excuse. Like, no, I'm sore from going to the gym yesterday, so that's why I didn't do so good.
I mean, I didn't use it as an excuse, but I didn't get to ride. I led a warm up ride. Like there was 2 rides the day before, a race one and a t-shirt one, and so I did this like 15-mile ride at like 110 watts, and so I just felt like, man, I need to keep the body moving. And so there was a hotel gym, and I've been kind of getting a little bit more into my physique, which is definitely has played an adverse role in my fitness. Like the better I look, the worse I ride, for sure. So if I have a 6-pack, it's just really,
maybe that's
really.
Why I'm so. Maybe that's why I did so good at that race, is because I'm so ugly. I'm forfeiting all of my good looks for watts. That's what it is.
I think your face is handsome. You have a handsome face. What your body looks like, but anyone that does well, right? Anyone that does well in cycling, if you take them out of that context and you just say, "Look at this guy in shorts. Is he an athlete?" Most people would be like, "No," And so,
sandwich.
Yeah. So, anyways, look, I've been really into getting a little bit stronger, and this is another thing that I wanted to do with this race is that I felt like, well, there's no real climbs. I might actually be able to do something here. But man, the race was full gas, like a lot, and it was so much fun because you had to navigate all those turns, and I mean, it was a really, really good event. I was super stoked with how that race played out, and I did miss one move that could have got me top 10. I felt like I was right there, able to knock on the door of top 10, but is what it is. So
that's how I feel after every lifetime event. I just missed the move. I missed the move. Could have had me a top 10. But
I don't know, dude. The lifetime stuff
you guys are more similar than you guys give yourself credit for, honestly.
I know. I'm starting to realize
one
that.
One of you guys just lives in Kentucky and the other one lives in California. And that's most of the difference in your personality, I think.
Accurate. How many kids you got?
2.
See? See, dude?
You got a boy and a girl, don't you?
Yeah. I have a 7-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son who has now, me and him have always rode motorcycles together. That's like, he started riding. I put him on a Strider at 18 months. He couldn't actually walk, but he could do the Strider. So like no training wheels. It was really, really like, I don't know how old your kids are, but the Strider, like the balance bike, is so amazing for their ability to move through the world. Like if you go on a little walk in your neighborhood, dude, they can just rip. So then he started riding dirt bikes at 2, like no training wheels. And anyways, that's been a thing for me and my son to bond with. Well, he just recently moved up to the big bike. Like he's on a full on adult KTM 250 2-stroke. So like the biggest bike you can get for the track. And we raced in the same class and he straight up beat me. Like it was one of the coolest moments of my life. Like he got 3rd in a stacked novice class. Now it goes beginner, novice, expert, pro. So like novice is like cat 3, right? Ish. And so anyways, to see him, I'm racing behind him. I'm going as fast as I possibly can. And he's just dusting me. And it's just like one of the coolest feelings to have him now be better than me at something. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. He doesn't like pedaling though. He's not into
see, that's why he's building some muscle, man. You need muscles for moto. You don't need muscles for gravel racing.
True. Moto's way cooler. You could wear a flame kit in moto and probably like get away with it and not win.
I don't know.
All right, before we get too far down any rabbit holes, who watched the gravel world championships this weekend?
I zoomed through it a little bit. So I watched the last like 10K. I mean, it kind of seemed pretty non-eventful. Vanderpool crushed it. Like it wasn't that cool. But I did see Ted King's clip. He had posted how far back he was, which was insane, right? I mean, he was like 400th on this like tiny little road. And so then, I was also wondering why Keegan didn't show up or wasn't on the team or anything like that. But man, the start position was kind of like, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that some of those guys, they got screwed last year with the start position. And I think probably for a guy like Keegan, he's like, look, if I'm going to get screwed in the start position, it's not even worth me going. I don't know if that's actually his reason because I haven't talked to him in depth about this. The one that I more wanted to see Keegan at was the Marathon Mountain Bike World Championships, because I legitimately think that he could have won that one. Not easily, like he would have had to have a good day, but I think he had a chance of winning Marathon Mountain Bike World Championships this year.
I don't know him at all. You've obviously raced with him. What makes him almost like unbeatable? Like he just seems, even with like a flat tire, I mean, the guy just seems that if he's in the race, there's no beating him. Like that's wild.
Talent.
Talent.
That's all it is.
So that's an inside joke. Like we had a whole debate about talent versus hard work about a year ago.
You don't need to explain it to him. Just tell him to go. You can just go listen back to that episode.
You're being funny, Drew, but I don't think it is necessarily talent. I think I don't think Keegan has like world class generational talent like a Vanderpool or
he doesn't have Vanderpool level talent, but I think his talent level is at like a world tour level, but he's not racing world tour, he's racing US races. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be like, for example, if Sepp Kuss decided to do lifetime Grand Prix races, or if Quinn Simmons decided to do like
smoke everybody.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hold on, because Matteo Jorgensen did Unbound. Quinn Simmons did Unbound. They both DNF'd. So like it's not always that these guys could come over and that apply.
That's the thing about Unbound though. Like Unbound this year, everybody was talking about Mohoric. Mohoric didn't even finish. And we were going through the start list before Unbound, and Drew was having a full on freak out. He's like, look at the start list. It's the craziest start list I've ever seen. I'm like, dude, half those guys are going to flat out or get hot and they're going to quit. And I was right. I was dead right. Like Unbound is just a different beast altogether. Like, honestly, Vanderpool could straight up be on the start list of Unbound next year, and it is not a guarantee that he's going to win at all.
That's wild. Yeah. Well, the race was... didn't seem that cool. I know that there was like 5 Belgium dudes in that final break that then just sat on the back and then like went. What did they go? They went 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That was the Belgian,
something like that.
Or 3,
2, 3, 4. I think it was
no, because they didn't get second.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, it's 3, 4, 5.
Belgium
3, 4, 5, 6. Because there was or however it was.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I was just a little bit disappointed with the course. And I know like gravel is such a broad category. Like you could have everything from a race that's 80% road to a race that's basically mountain biking, like, and everything in between. Like it could all be considered gravel. But for a world championship, like that kind of just looked like a road classics race with some sort of off-road sectors. But those off-road sectors didn't even look remotely technical to me. Maybe if I was there, I don't know if I'd have a different opinion or not, but I was just like, is this really worthy of the world championship course for gravel?
No. And that's the thing about Europe is like they're just a little bit behind on that. And I don't feel like America gets the like praise that we have the most insane variety of gravel racing, you know? And like you said, you could do primarily a road race or, you know, like the one that you and I were at together in Colorado, the Bighorn. Like, dude, what an amazing course that was that like applied so many different skill sets. I wish that the world's was over here in America because we have too many options when it comes to remote off-road, you know, courses.
Yeah, I don't know why it hasn't been over here. I mean, we kind of invented gravel, and we haven't had a gravel world championships here yet.
Well, there is gravel worlds.
I think wasn't the first year it was supposed to be in California or something, and then it fell through. But yeah, I mean to like talk about the topic of what is gravel and like what should a gravel world championships look like. I do think that gravel specialists should be able to rise above non-gravel specialists if it's the right course, which I don't think I agree with what you guys are saying. I don't think this course that they raced in Belgium was that. I don't think anyone that races gravel routinely had any advantage on that course. If anything, they probably had a disadvantage on that course.
And I do think that is the case with Unbound. Like, I think gravel specialists do have a distinct advantage at Unbound over just some random World Tour roadie that shows up and thinks that they're going to crush it.
Yeah, so no, I mean, we are talking about American gravel, though, in that perspective.
Yeah.
And I think, Tyler, what you were kind of starting to get at is, you know, it seems like the rest of the world is kind of a little bit behind in at least what America is doing with gravel right now. But I don't know, is the American gravel scene like the right way to do it? Is it the only way to do it? Should there be more variety in what gravel looks like worldwide? I think that's probably up for debate. It would be interesting to see a more challenging or technically oriented gravel course and see how that could change the results.
Well, this is
I
what I
don't
love
know if
about
they have that in Belgium.
This is what I love about gravel is that a good gravel course, like say Unbound 200, it ticks every box for what you can be good at. I think that for number one, the course should have multiple different bike setup choices. Like it shouldn't just be a clear cut, this is the bike to run. I feel like that's really cool about gravel. Some guys are on mountain bikes, some guys are on road bikes, some guys are in between, and they're going to have an advantage or a disadvantage at some point on the course. I think that that's really, really cool. The other thing is you need to have long endurance. You need to have fueling. You need to have power. I mean, there's just all these things you need to check off. And that's what I love about gravel. And when I see this stuff over in Europe, it looks like they saw a picture of American gravel and then just were like, well, it's not on road. And it's like, yeah, but dude, if you're in it, like if you're in Unbound and you're hitting those like ruts with rocks everywhere at 35 miles an hour in the field, like, bro, that's so hard to convey how difficult that is and what it takes to, you know, just to stay there. Like the balls you need, like Flameboy, when he made the selection at Dust Bowl, he took a risk of like, I'm going to fly into this turn. And if I end up in the hospital, I end up in the hospital, right? Like it just, that was a separator where I wasn't willing to go that kind of speed. And so then it separated the field. And like that should be how a lot of gravel is.
Yeah. Dude, you got kids to worry about. Oh, wait.
I didn't take that turn excessively. I got gapped at the bottom of that turn too. I just went into it fourth wheel and you went into it like 15th wheel. So you had to like, I had to go around the two guys that crashed in front of me and you had to go around like the 10 dudes that crashed in front of you, which like if 10 dudes crash, there's going to be a huge gap. And it was just like, I was fourth wheel and it was still chaos. And I was fourth wheel. Like the only person who didn't get screwed on that downhill was Daxton, who was in first. And he was taking it like the two kids that were in second and third tried to go his speed and they both went off the road. And then he made it. And I touched my brakes around that turn because I was like, I am not crashing. And
then it was right into that little climb. Like there was like a minute climb or something. And so me coming to a complete stop literally at the bridge, it's like shit. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think kind of what you're talking about though is like the there's skill, like there's positioning yourself within the group is a skill. And that's like particularly, especially with like road racing and a lot of gravel racing too, we're seeing in the US, like having the right positioning is a skill. But then there's also like knowing the course and being able to position yourself when it matters most. And I think that's what we didn't see with this gravel course from this past weekend was there wasn't really like a crux sector of the course where like, I mean, the positioning mattered only when it was like when there was a selection going. It wasn't necessarily because there was a challenging part of the course that forces selection. And I think what you're saying is
I think positioning mattered a lot for the gravel.
Well, I'm not talking about start positioning. Start positioning is completely different.
I mean, positioning the whole race mattered a lot because there's a lot of narrow sections that probably split the race.
But not because it was technical, though.
Yeah, but a lot of races is like that. It's like, it's not Schwamigen's like that. Like Schwamigen, it's not technical, but positioning matters because all of a sudden the course goes from 18 wide to 2 wide, and you got to be like in the top 10 or you're going to get screwed.
It's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
You think I could see Gravel Worlds like going to Bentonville because Bentonville has the resources and the
dude, I would love that. All the Euros show up with like 40s thinking that's a good idea.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, look at the difference in bikes to what Tyler was saying about the bike choice. Like, look at how many, wasn't that the first race last year where we saw people riding gravel tire or mountain bike tires and gravel suspension and all that was last year? That was the first race you did.
Other than Dylan.
Dylan,
other
right?
than, I mean, Dylan did that probably before that, but other than that, yeah.
Oh. I mean, but other people, like, that was the first race I think Keegan ran his suspension fork at.
Yeah. And Tobin was on mountain bike tires.
Dylan, I want to talk to you about these tire thing because you've definitely like created this movement. And I know that you're a smart person, right? And so I think a lot of people are
he
missing
surrounds himself with smart people.
I think a lot of people are
the opposite.
I think a lot of people are missing the point, and no one wants a "it depends" answer. But I've been getting so much of this recently that it's like wider is better. Listen to Dylan Johnson. But so you can't just blanket. I mean, I think you would agree with this. You're not going to run a fat tire bike in a road crit race, right?
So there's a lot of people that get really heated. I think at one point on this podcast, we were talking about rainy crits, like crits in the rain or something. And I said, I think for a crit in the rain, a 40 mil tire would be better because cornering matters so much and you'd get a little more cornering grip. And there are a lot of people on the internet now who are like, Dylan thinks 40s for crits is a good idea. What an idiot. And I'm not saying that I know that 40s for crits are better, but I kind of think that if it's raining and it's a crit race, 40s might be better just because the cornering matters so much.
Okay, but you would agree that in a dry, flat road race, wider isn't better in all scenarios, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so when it comes to gravel racing, it's wildly depends on the course. And so like in the Dust Bowl, I was running 42s and people were like, oh, you should have ran way wider, Dylan Johnson, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but like the back half of the course was essentially all road, you know? And so, I mean, I felt like 42s was fine. Maybe I could have run a 50 in the front, but like, it's not a wider is better regardless of the terrain across the board, right? Like there are skinnier does have an advantage when it's hard and flat.
Potentially. So I will say that, and these are just Maxxis riders, and Maxxis gravel tires suck ass. But for example, we've seen Payson McKelvin and Keegan Swenson both switch to mountain bike tires exclusively for gravel racing. Like they don't run gravel tires anymore. Payson and Keegan just run the Aspen ST, and I think Tobin too, because Tobin just does whatever Keegan does. They ran the Aspen ST 2.25 for Steamboat of all races. They ran the Aspen ST 2.25 for Gravel Nationals, which Gravel Nationals was not bumpy. I mean, it was sandy, and wide does help for sand, but it wasn't bumpy. And And both of them independently of one another, and I'm gonna grant that this is only Maxxis tires. This isn't like testing a very fast gravel tire versus a equivalent mountain bike tire of different brands. But they've actually found that the mountain bike tires are faster than the Maxxis gravel tires. So they're testing Maxxis mountain bike tires versus Maxxis gravel tires on paved road, and they're finding that the mountain bike tires are faster.
With all the tread cut off. Don't make sure you
Well, the ST already has all the tread cut off. The one that they're cutting the tread off is the regular Aspen. And I think that most of the reason why they're doing that is to fit it in the frame.
Yeah, it's not to. Well, they don't make the Aspen ST in a 2.1. They make the regular Aspen in a 2.1.
Yeah. So here's my argument about why wider is faster on gravel, and that's not a blanket statement. I agree that it does depend. Obviously, it depends, but when you have a wider tire, you can actually get away with making the tire have a thinner casing, and a thinner casing usually means that the rolling resistance is reduced. So, for example, if you had a 40 mil tire with a 2 centimeter casing, then maybe to get the equivalent flat protection in a 2.0 mountain bike tire, you'd only need a 1.5 centimeter casing. And so now the 1.5 centimeter casing, forget about the bump absorption of the tire, which actually does come into play. But let's just forget about that. Let's just ride on a paved road. If we're comparing, the same compound, but one is a 2 centimeter casing and one is a 1.5 centimeter casing, the 1.5 centimeter casing is going to have a lower rolling resistance, and you can get away with that because the tire is so much wider and you're not increasing the puncture risk.
That makes total sense. I guess I never really thought about that. I just know when I ride my mountain bike versus my gravel bike versus my road bike, if I'm on the road, you feel a huge difference, in speed. So my mountain bike tires, also maybe the full suspension or whatever, but it's like, geez, this is way slower. But
so the other thing that you need to keep in mind here, and this is why wide tires are so slow to catch on. I mean, this is why road racers raced with, 19 millimeter tires pumped up to 200 PSI for so long or whatever. I don't know, the number, when old people talk to me about what pressure they used to run, I feel like the number goes up every time. But it's because the smaller and harder the tire is, the more vibration you feel as you're riding. And our brains are not really good at differentiating that vibration from what is actual speed. So if you're riding down the road and you feel a ton of vibration, you feel like you're going very fast, versus if you're riding down the road and you feel nothing, you don't feel like you're going fast. It's kind of like the difference between riding in a shitty car at 100 miles an hour and then riding in a luxury car at 100 miles an hour. If you're riding in a luxury car, like a new luxury car at 100 miles an hour, you don't even know that you're going that fast because the ride is so smooth. Versus if it's like a piece of shit from the 80s, you're going 100. That thing is about to explode.
Yeah.
That actually makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I actually did this test a couple weeks ago with the Race King. So the 2.2 mountain bike tires.
Oh yeah, you've been talking about how you're going to talk about this all week.
Well, I planned on doing the Aspen ST versus the Conti Race King.
Come on,
test.
Let's hear it.
I was gonna do it today. But we're recording today, so I was planning on doing the test.
All excited about your tire tests, and then you don't show up.
It's not my fault with we changed the recording time. It was supposed to be tomorrow.
Gosh.
The test was today, and the recording tomorrow.
I was looking forward to this tire
test.
I'll
give some preliminary results. But let me tell the test from 2 weeks ago. So I wanted to test higher pressure versus lower pressure, because one of the things that I don't like about bicycle rolling resistance is that when they test their mountain bike tires, they test at absurd pressures. Their extra low tire pressure is 25 PSI. I was like, okay, let me compare 25 PSI, which I think is absurdly high, to standard pressure, which would be 20. Okay. So I went out at 25 PSI. It feels faster. You feel so much more vibration, especially as soon as you hit off-road sector. Like I tried to ride the gravel or the mountain bike trails to get to the place where I was going to do the testing. And it was like impossible to even ride. It was like so bumpy and so firm, and the cornering sucked and the acceleration sucked because I was like losing traction. So like that alone, okay, you can't even ride it at that pressure. But when I did the test on pavement, and it felt faster across 10 minutes, it was only 5 seconds faster than at 20 PSI. So again, it shows you like it feels faster, but just because it feels faster doesn't mean it actually is faster. And this was like a pretty legit test. I did 2 samples, 10 minutes each.
It actually was faster. 5
seconds over 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's like, for one, that's pretty close to being within like the margin of error of like measurement. But also like, if you're talking about a tire that's supposed to be ridden off-road and you can't even ride it off-road, it's just like what happens is people think like, oh, I'm going to air up, an extra 5 PSI today because I want to go faster on this like, firm, fast gravel course. But in reality, like you're actually going to probably go slower.
So what was the low pressure that you tested?
20.
So 20 versus 25.
It was actually 18 in 20 versus 24 and 26 to be.
Okay. So like kind of standard mountain bike pressure versus, I don't know, something that's too high.
And I picked 25 because that's what Bicycle Rolling Resistance tested their lowest pressure at for mountain bike tires. So I was just like curious, like, okay, they talk about this watt savings at this pressure, but like, that's not even a realistic pressure, right?
So I've tested different pressures of the same tire, because that's a very easy test to do. Like if you have a pump and a gauge, you can pretty easily do that. You don't even have to swap the wheels. Right. And usually what I do is I'll start at SILCA's recommended pressure, and then I'll go up and I'll go down. And I will say, like, huge shout out to SILCA for figuring this out. But that SILCA Pro tire pressure calculator, like, I'm not even trying to do an unscripted ad right now. This is straight up what I do. Their recommendation is usually pretty spot on, like within a PSI or two. Like it's very close.
But now that we're here, Adam, hit us with that SILCA code. What a bonk. But you don't even have to pay for the tire
Bonk
calculator.
Bros bonus 5.
Bonus 5.
That's true.
Yeah, anybody can use the pressure calculator. You don't even have to buy anything.
Yeah, you don't have to buy anything.
So with the money that you would pay for the SILCA tire calculator, you can go to our Patreon and support us on our Patreon and say SILCA tire calculator fund. Yep,
that's true.
There you go.
Dylan, let me ask you a question about the tire width and power. So like when Keegan and Payson are running mountain bike tires, in my head, they have unlimited power. So they don't necessarily need a more efficient, faster bike because they can sort of override that with their power. Now, so go to someone who has an FTP of 200 watts. Is it still going to be advantageous to run super, super wide, like go way on the wider end of the spectrum, low PSI, even though they just don't have that watts to get up? And so then maybe they get dropped out of the race. They're not drafting. And in general, when you take into account everyone in the race, maybe it's slower.
So I think that obviously it depends, but if we're taking into, like, let's say the Unbound course, right? And you're saying, okay, well, maybe for Keegan and Payson and people who are as fast as Keegan and Payson, it would make sense to run mountain bike tires. But for everyone else, I don't know if that's a good idea. I would say actually the exact opposite is true. I think it would make more sense for a 200 watt FTP person to run mountain bike tires at Unbound, because they're experiencing even less of the drag that they're experiencing is from aero losses, right? So as the tire gets wider, it gets less aerodynamic, and the slower you're going, the less aero matters. And so these people that are averaging, 12 miles an hour, aero matters less for them than Keegan, who's going 22 miles an hour. And the rolling resistance is the same for both. So, if rolling resistance is actually a bigger piece of their of their pie that's slowing them down. Therefore,
which makes sense given that it's a slow course. But like if it's with like whatever the Dust Bowl, we averaged. I mean, what did you average? Like 22 or something?
Yeah, I think it was 21 something. I don't remember.
Okay, I think that was like 21.5, and then you, anyways. But so like when the average speed is 25 to 30 miles an hour on some of these straights, that is potentially where a wider tire, lower PSI would not shine as much as if we were doing like climbing, technical, slower stuff. Yeah.
Because of the aero losses?
Just the higher the speed, right? The more if the wider the tire, the bigger the footprint, the lower the PSI. Isn't that going to be like the gains would drop off the faster you go?
So I think that's a little too much blanket statement of just saying like, the wider the tire, the bigger the foot. I mean, that is true. Wider tire, bigger footprint. That's overall true. But the footprint alone isn't the only thing that contributes to the rolling resistance. And I think, Dylan, maybe you started to talk about this, or maybe you talked about it when I was taking a piss. I don't remember, but like it has to do more with like the suppleness of the casing of the tire rather than like the width of the tire and the tread specifically of the tire. So like just saying wider is better is not true. It depends on.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the case. Like you could have a very wide tire with a shit casing and it'd be slow. You could have a very narrow tire with a shit casing and it'd be slow. Like I think the casing is actually probably the most important. And when the courses get really bumpy, the width actually is an advantage. But part of the reason why it's a wider tire is an advantage in the first place is because you can run a thinner casing. So, for example, if you had two tires that had the same tread pattern, but one,
you could say the Challenge Getaway XP, same tread as the normal Getaway, but the XP has a crappier casing. Isn't that not? Yeah. Is that like a perfect example?
It's crappier for going fast. It's not crappier for not getting a flat.
Yeah, but you're talking about fast.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yes, it's got a casing with a higher rolling resistance.
Yeah. So you could run the same exact tire, 45 Getaway or the 45 Getaway XP casing, same tread pattern, same width, but the casing on the standard Getaway will go faster than the XP
casing. And that casing is going to matter way more than the width of the tire.
Like even if you drop down to a 40, if you like even drop down to a 40 for the XP, the 45 is going to go faster even with the wider tire.
The 45 casing. Standard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you're very knowledgeable about this. And I will say that like when in 2022, I think I did this big impossible route in Texas, and Canyon sent two bikes. They sent the Grizzle with a suspension fork and a 2.0 tire. And then they sent one rigid with like 42s. And initially me and Jeremiah were fighting on who did not want the wider front tire and suspension fork. I was like, let's do rock, paper, scissors on who gets to get what would be the faster bike, the rigid, skinnier tire. Now skinnier, again, 42s. I lost. I got the purple people eater bike with the suspension fork. And dude, within the first 1 minute, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And Jeremiah is a way better rider than me. Way, way better, not just by margins. And I was able to actually stay with them on some of the technical climbs just because that suspension fork, like it was a performance enhancement, both down, but also up. Like that suspension fork was keeping the bike planted on some of the single track, like real punchy stuff. And that's when I became such a huge fan of that suspension fork. It was just like, even with how little it was only like 30, millimeters or whatever. But dude, it was a performance enhancement, an advantage for speed when you would think like it's not aero, it's heavy, everything's wide. It was crazy. It was wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like the four marginal gains would be like that matter. I mean, anything can be a marginal gain, I guess, but like the four ones that matter the most would be aero, drivetrain efficiency, tire rolling resistance, and weight. And there's a reason why people concern themselves the most with weight. And I think it's because it's the most easily measurable, and you can just pick up a bike and be like, this one's heavy, this one's light. And you can jump on and you can put the bike on a scale and you can measure the weight so easily. And when something is that easily measured, it's at the forefront of our brain. But it's probably, depending on the course, for a race like Unbound, weight is probably the least important out of those 4 marginal gains that I just said. The other 3 are more important. Like, in fact, if I had to list them in importance, I would do aero first, tire rolling resistance, drivetrain efficiency, and then weight. Weight would be last. But the other 3 are hard to measure. It's hard to measure aero. You have to go to a wind tunnel. It's hard to measure drivetrain efficiency. Like, you need a jig and all this stuff. And then it's hard to measure tire rolling resistance. Like, like you actually have to do tests and you have to control for things. Like, you can't just put the tire on a scale and it says the rolling resistance is this. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I do want to say, dude, it's been really awesome watching your progression and where you find yourself, and how, even though, and you've done a really good job of telling this story, the competition, the talent is rising every year. It's faster, stronger, better. And you have maintained your position, this like magic 16th place.
Nah, dude, he's in 11th right now. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, but I mean, you're just like
the times, dude. Dylan's getting faster.
But that's so cool, right? That you're chasing these gains and staying relevant, even with the rising tide. You know what I mean? And so it's and then also how much people are so stoked on you getting that position. You know, I would feel, if I didn't get top 3 in any race that I do, I feel like kind of embarrassed and like, fuck, people are gonna talk shit. But you have like framed this story where it's like, that's so dope that he's always, 10 through 20, somewhere in there. And so it's been cool following you. And so good job on that, man.
Thanks, man. I don't know why people are so stoked about me getting 16th, but I'm not complaining, I guess.
All right. Now you can give me one of those too. Just do what you just did, but do it for me now.
Dude, so I don't know, like, I don't think you know very much about Drew. I don't know if you researched him at all, but like Drew's level right now is he's like right on the cusp of getting into the Grand Prix. Like last year we don't know this, but we theorized that he just barely didn't make it in. Drew thinks that he was the last guy to not get picked. I think there were probably a couple of guys ahead of him, but probably regardless, he is like right on that cusp. And
it's the flame kit that's keeping you out.
Can I borrow one of your pink kits? Just ship me one of your pink kits. Maybe that'll get me in.
Dude, it gets you in instantly for sure.
Oh yeah. What was on the? Was it like blueberries? What was on the kit?
Well, I've done these fruit kits for a while, but that's not my race kit. So I have like, I did an original fruit kit way back in the day, and it did really well. And then so every year we release like a different version of the fruit kit. So we've done graffiti.
See, if Drew did a fruit kit, he would just jump straight to bananas.
We thought about doing like a banana, right? Like, in the crotch area.
That would be Drew. He'd go straight to that.
I wouldn't do that.
No, it's the fruit kits have done really well. I mean, surprisingly well for what they are. But I mean, there's a lot of plain kits. Like right now is definitely, the black and white it's just one. It looks super clean, but it's a little overdone. A lot of people are just running like solid colors, which is cool. But also I like to throw in something wild. I really like a contrast between like a wild top and a clean bottom, or reverse, like a wild set of bibs with a clean jersey.
What's more wild than a red to yellow fade from the bibs all the way to your jersey?
Drew's gonna die.
Red to yellow, that's wild. And it incorporates the bibs. Dude, red bibs is a statement. I ordered those bibs thinking this might look crazy.
So I think the thing about the flame kits is that if you were to ask like a 6-year-old boy to design a cool cycling kit, That's probably what they would come up with.
it.
They'd be like, yeah, put flames on it.
I think that's what I was going for. I think that's literally what my goal was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so you have this ignition thing behind you. Is that one of your sponsors? Is that like what made you lean into the flames?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what originally sparked it. Me and Dylan started a coaching company 3 years ago called Ignition, and the logo is a flame. And when I started using Ignition as the main title sponsor of my racing team, I was like, oh, well, you could go to the moon with flame stuff. So then I did. I just went to the moon.
Yeah, it's definitely
I took that little logo and just went way over the top with it.
There's definitely a curve, and you're far to the right of that curve.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. I think that's right where I want to be.
But dude, it would be a clean kit if you did just like red bibs, black jersey, and then that logo that's behind you, just like that little logo on the chest or something. Then it's like, oh, that's kind of sick, because then it's understated.
We did a kit like that a few years ago.
Drew's not good at being understated.
Yeah, well, his initial projecting to the world attitude is definitely out there.
No, that wasn't to the world. That was to you.
Dude,
there's a difference. You're more popular than me. That's the biggest difference. Is there's irony in that situation because of how big you are.
Hold on.
So I will say that I come into relationships as like I'm just Tyler and you're just Drew, and that there's no back history. And so sometimes I wasn't thinking that you knew who I was, or that joke had anything to do with my success on social media or whatever. Like, because I try to keep that out of my head. I don't want to be the guy who assumes something. So I guess
that's great. Yeah, that's what.
If I had been more big-headed, maybe I would have taken those jokes as that, but as just like, I'm just a dude, you're just a dude. It came off weird. But now that I know you more, then that's different. You know what I mean? Now we have. Dude,
now he knows you're a douche. He doesn't just think you're a douche. He knows it. All right,
so
dude.
Does that help at all? I don't know.
No, it doesn't help, dude. So Drew is by far the most controversial person on this podcast. Like I said, constantly putting his foot in his mouth, constantly pissing people off. Like, he doesn't realize that, anytime you mention anybody on a podcast, somebody is gonna send it to them and they're gonna hear it. And that's happened to him 100 times. So anyway, I really want this to become a meme, and I thought this was hilarious. So on the last Bonk Bros episode, some people talked about their experiences with you, Drew. I just want to read some of these, okay?
Wait, what? What are you about to do?
All right. I once tried to say hello to Drew at a race. He spit on my shoes and then let the air out of my tires. He said, "This is gravel country," and kicked my bike over.
Yeah, accurate.
I heard Drew once won a race for cancer charity race. He stood at the finish line and screamed at the other participants, "You'll never beat cancer at that pace," while spraying them with champagne he bought for himself.
This is
that's hilarious. That's a hilarious comment.
Yeah,
it's kind of like.
Is there more? Are there more?
Well, those are the two best ones. I mean,
yeah, let's get some more of these.
No, that's so good. It's like the Chuck Norris meme type thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So look, lean into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I guess here's the one thing is that what I don't like about social media, this is just in general, is that people try to put on some kind of front or brand, and then you realize who they are outside of social media is totally different than who they are in real life. And so like I'm always trying to suss someone out. Like, what are they really like? What's their real personality? And so if that's just who you are in general, like then that's more respectable. And it's like, okay, I understand who this person is. But when you meet someone where it's like on social, they're one way, and then you meet them in real life and you're like, dude, you're nothing. So you're just faking, and then that's hard to like understand that person. So,
yeah, I think I try to not do that.
Yeah, Drew is not faking. This is what he's like.
No, and that's I'm giving you a compliment in that regardless of however you are, staying true to yourself is respectable. You know what I mean? And then that's just like, yeah, that's just that guy. That's who he is. So good job.
All right, Drew, now it's your turn to give Tyler a compliment.
That's gonna be hard to. That's gonna be hard to do. I'm just kidding.
Come on, at least he has a cool shirt, dude.
I think it's cool. He came on our podcast. I thought the video, like, I think what upset me the most from the video was not the video itself. Like, I watched the video and was like, that was hilarious. Like, I can get down with somebody roasting me because I look like a goofball and I had flames coming. Like, the fact that you spent time to edit the flames coming out of my hand was awesome. I'm like, that was cool. I'm like, that's my favorite part. I clipped all the little things that you did.
I saw it. Yeah,
I was like my favorite. I'm like, that is awesome. I think what like caught me was in the comments when you were responding to people, you were like, oh yeah, I don't actually like this guy. And I was like, oh man, like I wish he had talked to me more and wouldn't have jumped to this conclusion after like one or two short conversations. Like, I just wish we had talked a little more, but I mean, it's cool that, yeah, you didn't like me from those initial reactions and you still decided to come on to an hour and a half podcast with me.
Yeah,
with somebody
and I kept answering the comments over and over and over. And if there's no way to see this, but I started being polite and being like, oh, whatever. But by like the 20th time I answered it, I was like, actually, you know what? Fuck this guy. And
yeah, so that's how I am. But on the first comment, I'm like, they're going to just get the real.
Yeah. No,
well, thanks for trying.
It's all good. And, you know, you had an amazing race. Like, you know, that was super sick. And I'd love to do some kind of pride. If you don't get into Lifetime, you'll have plenty of time next year to do epic rides. And
dude,
so
I will absolutely do an epic ride with you. You might want to kill me by the end of it, but I'll do it.
So are you still doing impossible routes? I had heard of the impossible routes mainly because I followed JB. So not to disrespect you and what you're doing, but I'm saying like I heard it through because I know JB and I heard it through his platform. And those are super cool. Are you planning on doing more of those in the future, or is that series like shut off now?
This kind of goes into a lot, but JB and I are going to separate, part ways. I gave him
a new partner.
I gave him the impossible route. So everything on like, I just gave him everything. He's in control of the brand. I did all of the editing, like that, all of the production. That's under me. Like, I am a film editor that rides bikes. You know, I'm not a guy who rides bikes that just happens to edit. Like, editing is my gift. Like, that's what I'm good at. And those stories were amazing. But if you watch them all, you will see this growing tension between me and Jeremiah. And it all kind of boiled to a head in Bolivia. And it's just, it's my problem. And I will take this, is that I don't have the ability to delegate. And so our workload is vastly different. But we're 50-50 partners on that project. So it started to become something I got really, really bitter with, is like, dude, I'm putting 500 hours into these projects and you show up just to ride. You know what I mean? And like, I love him. He has turned me into an amazing human. Without him, I would have never had these adventures. So like, I give him as much credit as possible. It's just the work relationship. And look, who else has done 11 feature length films? How do we keep telling new stories? You know what I mean? Sure. It's just like, it's one of those things where if we kept going, I feel like we would ruin that series. We would crash it into the ground. And so
sounds like you need a new foil.
So I'm going to still do big impossible route style productions and films. They're just going to be one-off, you know, like, The Lost Coast. That's a project where we circumnavigate the island in Hawaii. It starts with a 6-mile paddle, a 12-mile hike, then a 100-mile ride up to Waimea Canyon. Super dope. So things like that, you know, I just did this Canada to Mexico thing. You know, it's the Great West Coast Adventure. It was something that was really super awesome. So anyways, I have tons of ideas and tons of projects that we can put together. One that I really want to do, that I'm trying to pitch, is in 2025, we do the 1925 Tour de France. Every single stage, right? But we are on modern technology, 100-year advancements. And
That's
since we
back
have
when the stages were like 250 miles long.
Yeah, and they were doing blow at every aid station.
1925 got a little more progressed because we did this. We did it in a France Impossible route where we replicated stage 10 and 11 of the 1923, and that was like they would do 24 hours essentially, and then 24 hours off. So it wasn't every single day. So you had these rest days in between because some guys were taking 17 to 20 hours to complete the ride.
Dude, people were just harder back then, man.
For sure. But in 1925, they did legalize the derailleur. So until then, you couldn't run a derailleur. You had to have a wheel that had a cog on the left and the right, and you swapped out your wheel to go up a climb. Yep. But so anyway, since we have the results and the times, like how cool would it be to see if we had like 6 guys who were full on racing, so we have this, but we do this full 21 stages like through France. Dude, it'd be really, really cool. And then could we win the 1925 Tour de France? And maybe we don't because these guys are gnarly. Yeah, and they were on cocaine and ether. Ether was a big thing. They would huff ether. But we have all this modern technology.
You're not going to give yourself that advantage.
We got ketones, man. We're so hard now.
Yeah, dude. Bro, ketones rip. But yeah, that would be a cool one, like straight up racing every day for 21 days. That would be cool. But also have a bunch of other projects. And like I live in Yosemite essentially. So if you ever find your way out, I do have a really cool project. It's called The Long Way Home. I start from my house and then we do an 80-mile ride through the national forest over to Mammoth. So it's a 15-mile hike. You have to put your bike on your back and hike 15 miles. Then we stay the night in Mammoth, and then we do about a 170-mile ride through Yosemite all the way back home. It's just like an epic loop. But a big part of it is just like bushwhacking straight across the Sierra National Forest. Super sick.
Nice.
So if you like hiking.
I don't think you could ever expect Dillman to come on that, but I think it sounds cool.
Well, the thing about the impossible
starting line and a finishing line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. But the thing about like an impossible route or like a really big project is it has to be usually multiple days because anyone can do a hard thing one day, but where are you at day 4, day 5, that ability to recover, that to me is a good story.
Dude, people have sent me messages like, when are you going to do an impossible route? And I'm like, I'm not even remotely associated with that. I don't know why you're asking me, but
I mean, I'd love to have. We should do something. I mean, you're pretty busy in your program. Your training is like kind of, on point. So it'd be a little bit hard to ask you to go do, a 3,000 TSS week in the middle of your training. But if you want to,
I'll let you know. Yeah. All right. One more thing before we sign off here. I just want to say congrats to our boy Scott for tying the knot this weekend. I was the only one that showed up to the wedding. I don't know.
I thought Drew was there.
No, I didn't show up.
Nah, I couldn't leave. My kids got sick and CJ needed me to stay here.
Oh, I thought you were there.
No, I was like packing to leave and had to not go.
Okay, bummer. Did I see, was Gage Heck there?
I think so, yeah.
I thought I saw
there was a lot of cyclists
up the
there.
dance floor.
Like every single one of Scott's friends is a cyclist, so it was cool. Nice. Scott he looked pissed throughout the entire ceremony. I even think he said "I do" in his like Scott voice. They're like, "Do you take Megan to be your lawfully wedded wife?" And he was like, "I do."
That's awesome.
At one point, there was a goat on the dance floor.
Did you take selfies with the goats? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I saw the goats out there.
Dude, the goats were at the wedding. They were on the dance floor at one point. Yeah,
Scott had fun though, right? Like he just looked pissed off.
No, he's having fun. He's got like a resting pissed face. Yeah.
Got it. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I was bummed. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I'll get the invite next time.
Next time. All right, cool. Are we wrapping it up or what?
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up. We'll skip listener questions and all that other shit for this week. This one's too long.
Well, I really appreciate you guys letting me come on, and again, super stoked on you guys.
Are we gonna have to
adjusting the schedule?
Are we gonna have to pay you for coming on? For blessing us with your
yeah, that's what's
for all
up.
those listening in. He just did the finger thing. Oh gosh.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys are planning on doing the rock cobbler in Bakersfield, but I don't think any of you guys have done it, but that's a sick gravel race. So if you have a chance to get out to California in February, that's kind of one of the kickoff races, and it's super dope. So if you come out, I'll be at that. It would be cool to meet up.
That would be sick. I think we talk about it this year of like potentially doing that as one of the Bonk Bros meetups. I thought that somehow Rock Cobbler was on there. I know it's not part of the Grand Prix, but it's like outside of the Grand Prix season. So like it would actually like probably work better than any of these other races.
Are you not going to come out to Unbound anymore? You done with Unbound?
I have just done it 5 times. So it's kind of like, and look, I definitely regret not doing it this year because like great weather and the talent field was a little bit less because the year I did it where it was the mud apocalypse, dude, the 350 was so stacked. And I was stoked on trying to race the best ever, but I don't know, it's a lot, you know what I mean? It's also the Unbound as an organization in Lifetime, I don't know, they just give me nothing. Like they don't like me, it seems. And it's like, man, I've promoted that event so much. I do so much for it.
Like they don't let you use footage or something?
I don't know. It's just weird how they sort of treat me in a way, I guess. And so when I do an event and I'm like promoting an event, I'm putting something out there, I kind of want the organization to be like somewhat stoked on it. Like, oh, thank you for doing hundreds of hours of work, and putting up all your money. Cause it costs so much. Dude. It costs like $5,000 for that week, to fly out, get a house, all that stuff. And so I don't know, maybe I'll do it, but the 200 is now wildly way too fast. Like this just makes no sense for me. And the 350 is just a lot. And the North course is really, really difficult, but this year they did a super fast time for the North course. So, I don't know. I skipped this year. Maybe we'll see where I'm at next year and if that makes sense to do it. But it's a lot. Yeah. I mean, it like
the 350 did a fast time for the North course too. I know the 200 was fast, but
yeah, for whatever, like the conditions were just really good, and the 350 they were flying. So I'll probably be out there again. It's just it's expensive.
Sure. Yeah. No doubt.
All righty. Well, thank you, boys.
Sweet.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks for coming on here.
See a friend.
Dizzle, are you trying to do happy hours again? Or are we shutting this?
Shut it down.
No.
We can shut it down? All right.
Yeah, no.
Just making sure.
I got stuff to do.
Dude, last week I tried.
Are we actually going to upload that or what?
It's uploaded.
Dude, just stop the recording.
Yeah.
I tried to stop it last week, and you guys, for some reason, didn't stop. You just kept going. So, this is it. Shut it off.
All right.